What's up everybody, Bastamouth here, bringing another Modern Warfare 2 Warzone 2 video. Today we're talking about peeking and how you can take better angles to win your gunfights in Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2. As always, please remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video and want to see more content from me. Also, please join our Discord server, link is in the description. We play games together, it's a great time. To illustrate basic peeking concepts, I have my friend and fellow YouTuber LordAdeds on the other team. His channel link will be in the description below. The two most important things when it comes to peeking properly are perspective and peeker's advantage. What I mean by perspective is how close or far you are to an angle or corner that affects your ability to see the enemy and their ability to see you, and we'll get into some examples of that in a second. And peeker's advantage, which basically you have to understand that everything actually happening on the server, all actions registered on the server, are not exactly what you're seeing on the screen, as your computer needs time to communicate what it's doing to the server and also receive the information from the other computers on the server of what they're doing. And that's a pretty layman description, but essentially what I mean by that is that when you come around a corner, and why it's called peeker's advantage, you have a split few milliseconds to where you're able to see the enemy player before they're able to see you because of how the server renders things out. And in order to take full advantage of just this, again, it's just a couple milliseconds, and so it seems like very insignificant, but in Call of Duty, whoever lands the first shot, that is significant, right? So it's all about landing the first shot, and the way you can ensure you land that first shot more often is by combining these two things, perspective and peeker's advantage, to ensure that first shot and ensure you win more gunfights and get more kills. Without further ado, let's get into the first example right here. This is a horrible peek. Again, remember how I said I come around the corner very close here. Remember how I said that the further back you are, the more you're able to see around the corner. So right here, I come up very close, so he's able to see my entire shoulder as I'm coming around the corner before I can even see anything around the corner, really, and that gives him way more time to react than I do. And so taking this short angle completely, first of all, I'm completely throwing away my peeker's advantage, and then second of all, it's just not an advantageous angle to take, I don't think, in any situation there. So this time, let's back up a little bit and take a further off angle that will allow me to see more around the corner and more of the area that's a threat to me than the angle I took previously. So as I'm coming around the corner, I can see way more, way earlier than I did previously on that previous angle. And this is actually a Dead's perspective of that angle I just took. And as you could see, he had way less time to react compared to the first one. And this is it in slow motion, but we're going to play the first one back for you again just to see the difference in time he had to react compared to right there, where before he even shoots once, I have 2 shots on him. And again, remember, this is the first one I took, as I am 1 shot away from death before I'm even full ADS'd on that angle. But as I come around on the second angle, he has way less time to react. Again, this is the first one. Watch again on the first one. So much time. He has so much time to react. He could have reacted even quicker there, probably. And I mean, that was just... But here again, as you'll see, he has absolutely no time to react. I'm fully utilizing the peeker's advantage on this angle. I am coming around the corner with intent to kill. I have my crosshair placed exactly where an enemy could be, so I don't have to spend time aiming. And then here we go. We have a slide peek. And I'm not really a big fan of the slide peek in general, but I will show you a longer peek. Again, I will say taking the angle longer on the slide peeks, and we're going to be getting into some close range aggressive peeks too, because again, this doesn't work for every weapon, this doesn't work for every scenario. But I really like these kinds of peeks first because they're safer, and I'll get into more what I mean by that later. And but yeah, that was a bad slide peek, because again, as you're sliding, if you're gonna slide peek, make sure you're coming around the corner at the end of your slide, unless you're doing a long one like this, to where, you know, the actual speed and distance you're creating can actually throw them off a little bit more. But if you're going on a short slide, make sure you end the slide very close to the angle so you can actually start shooting as the enemy is visible within your crosshairs. So as you can see there, I take a little bit of a longer angle further away from the corner, and this gives me more room to kind of get a better position, in a sense, to where it's harder for the enemy to hit me. And again, we're going over into a jump peek, so this is more of an aggressive peek. And the idea behind this is you're coming out and you're not shooting immediately, but rather flustering the enemy, getting them to miss a couple shots, and putting yourself in a aggressive and forward position to do some big damage and get some aggressive kills and potentially convert this right into me pushing up here or something. The reason why I like to take longer angles in most situations is because I can just take the angle really quickly and then move out slightly again and peek the next angle. Like, notice when I'm jumped out here, when I jump out here, I am completely exposed from so many locations. Or when I slide out here, I'm completely exposed from so many locations because of how far I'm committing into the gunfight. That's why most of the time I prefer to back up and take a nice, easy, passive angle where I can peek out real quick at the kill and get back into cover and, you know, maybe hit a stim shot, maybe got some shots on me. You never know, but that gives me, in most situations, more options than if I jump out and commit to a gunfight and now, I'm in the middle of nowhere and everyone's surrounding me and I'm probably just gonna get traded, right? So for the jump peek, a lot of time you're gonna want to take a closer angle before the jump, and the reason that is because the closer you are to an enemy, the further they're going to have to actually move their crosshair to get to you. Yes, you're a bigger target, but if, say, you're way far away and you're moving 5 meters, that 5 meters from that distance, when it translates to the enemy's crosshair, is going to be far less of an adjustment than if you're right up in their face and you move 5 meters right in front of them. They're going to have to literally turn, right? Because you're right up next to them, and the perspective of it makes it so that they have to turn more. So when you're taking a more aggressive approach like this, like a jump peek or a B-hop, like we're going to get into in a second, you're going to want to take a closer angle because you're relying less on the actual reliability of the angle and more of the surprise and the panic of the enemy, and creating confusion and taking advantage of that, and also to convert it, like I said earlier, into a push or an aggressive play with your teammate, or using grenades or tacticals, which again we're not covering in this video, but those can also be very useful when it comes to peeking. So here it is again, the jump peek, and again I would instead of running back like I do here, that would be kind of stupid. I would probably more convert that into either pushing the tunnel or going more left, because again, if I wanted to keep this cover right here, I would do one of the peaks I mentioned earlier, which are far less scary when it comes to putting yourself out there and in danger. So these again are very situational, these aggressive peaks here, and again this is a B-hop. So again, a very aggressive style of peak, again putting you out into the open, which in most situations I still say is going to be less advantageous, but it's fun to do. And with certain, again, I'm using a naked cast off here, so if you get a certain weapon build with a lot of ADS walking speed, you can make your B-hop even more effective. And essentially what you're doing with the B-hop is you're doing a horizontal jump, doing a jump sideways, right? While you're shooting and ADSing, or sometimes not ADSing if you're up close, maybe you're an SMG player, and again, you're doing an aggressive jump peek. But yeah, essentially you are trying to create as much movement as possible to get the enemy to miss as much as possible while putting yourself in a good aggressive position. And again, that's what I'm doing here. And as you'll notice, it's an initial jump, and then as soon as you land on that initial jump, you want to do a follow-up jump either in the same direction, or you can do a different direction if you take a step and then switch it up. Sometimes that can be very effective as well, especially in higher SBMM lobbies where people are more used to more expecting the B-hop and things like that. And now we're going to get into snipers, because there is a very unique way to handle snipers in this game, and it's very different. So right here we're covering again some of the things I did that worked against the AR. Even, I mean, this is just a bad short peek, like just coming around the corner like a regular, you know, Joe Schmo, and getting crapped on here by the sniper, because snipers, you can do a couple unique strategies to deal with them very effectively. But right here, again, we're running through what not to do. That was, again, an attempt on a slide peek. But again, the sniper flick and with the one-shot kill potential makes a lot of these relying on the first shot missing very, very, very risky. So what instead I like to do against snipers is something called the jiggle peek. And basically what you're doing is you're faking like you're about to come around the corner, but you don't really come around the corner. And the idea is that you get them to miss a shot, and then as they're rechambering their next shot, you come out and you destroy them, right? Or if, and again, we'll get into a little more advanced because people expect this, right? So as you can see, I'm just peeking my shoulder around the corner. I'm being very mindful. I'm not even, as you can see my view, I can't even see him when I'm doing this. A lot of people will over jiggle and they'll end up getting shot, but it's actually, it's good to be very aware of where your body actually is compared to your field of view. And my shoulder was very visible there despite the enemy not even being visible. And that's again to my point of keep in mind when you're going around these angles on very short corners, that's a very good example of how the enemy is able to see you before you can see them, depending on the angle that you take. So I basically, again, I wait for him to rechamber the shot, and this is his perspective right here. And as you can see, I'm not doing it in the same rhythm either, because a lot of times, like I'm about to say, people do expect this. So if they see you're jiggling and you're doing it to the same rhythm, like boom, 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 they're going to feel that rhythm, because snipers are very rhythmic players, right? They're going to feel that rhythm, and then they're going to shoot without even reacting, because they're going to know when you're coming around that corner, because you have the rhythm. So it's often a good time to hesitate before a jiggle or two, and just keep it like slightly off rhythm, especially as you'll see in the second kill here, where I take the longer jiggle, and as you'll see, I really get him with the hesitation. And again, we're watching it back here in slow motion. So you'll see, again, this is slow motion, so it's not as fast. It looked like it was an easier shot than it was, but that's just to show you how much of my shoulder I'm actually showing. And again, so look on this longer angle. Notice how when I was right up close right here, I was peeking out almost like this. Right here, I'm not peeking out even further than this corner here because of, again, keep in mind perspective. If I was to peek out as far, right here, if I was to peek out as far as I was on this short angle, like basically almost my entire body would be visible because of the difference of the perspective that I'm taking. But instead I'm taking this longer angle, so I'm not jiggling as far out, but I'm still able to be seen without me being able to see him. As you can see right there, he's able to see me, but I can't see him. This is all part of perspective. And as he's rechambering the shot, I come out and I get him like that. And again, another thing snipers will do is they'll realize this, and as soon as they rechamber the shot, they won't keep holding the angle, they'll fall off it and they'll hold a slightly more passive angle. But that is still good for you because you can use that ground that you just gained, because if you make them fall off that angle, even if, say, like after he misses the first shot, he gets into cover while he's rechambering and I can't get that kill right there, I still have gained that position. So now I can move up in that tunnel, like I can gain ground on that sniper and close that distance, which is very bad for the sniper. I can close that distance, maybe pop a flash around and get the kill, or maybe even do like a close b-hop slide challenge, or something along those lines, and I can really gain ground on him. So either way, the jiggle peek, even if it doesn't guarantee you the kill, it will give you some position and something to work with if you don't have much. And I am a huge fan of the jiggle, multiple FPS titles. It is very, very effective. And I will also say right here, I talked crap on the slide earlier. I do like the slide peek against snipers more than AR players, because just the general idea of making your center of mass smaller, and the ability to come around and peek that corner. And again, and remember, look how I peeked at the end of that slide. It wasn't like a full slide, like an aggro slide peek. I recommend, if it's a sniper, doing a very short slide peek and only coming out at the end of the slide, just to keep your body small and give you just enough time to get the kill and get out of there. And again, we're going to be running the long version of that for you here in a second right here. And again, notice how I slide before I come around the corner. I'm starting to slide before I come around the corner, so that when I'm around the corner and I'm actually able to check the angle, that my crosshair is up on the enemy and ready to fire. I hope this video has been helpful for you guys. Catch you guys in the next one.